I've been following a lot of people pumping out all these mega prompts that they talk about. And even in this example I'm going to walk through with Sabrina Romanov, she's suggesting a huge prompt and one big prompt to prompt into another prompt. And quite honestly, in my experience, I use AI to generate words, I use AI to generate code, and I use AI to generate images. And I don't believe in this big bang, like one prompt fits all, boom, here's the perfect answer thing. That's using you're delegating to AI. And I personally strongly believe you should be using AI as a sparring partner. So I'm going to take you through the process, how I followed loosely what Sabrina suggests, which is basically to mirror Charlie Hill's mega success. And here's the links to the video, and essentially what she's pointing out is this Charlie Hill's guy has got 480,000 views on individual posts, massive traction. Here's a bunch of his posts, and they're this particular style of post that look like a notebook. They're very hand drawn, and it's cool. It's great stuff. Not knocking it at all. My question was, do you get to this prompt in one hit, right? And I strongly believe you don't. I'm not a fan of that school of working, right? So I made this starter prompt because I kind of had a good idea of what I was trying to do. I had 6 individual personas that I'm trying to communicate. So that was my prompt, and then I popped this. I use Claude for that, and I have a fully paid up license for Claude, right, that I'm paying every month for. And I then popped this prompt into Gemini, which I also pay for. And I also pay for Grok, by the way, as well. But and this was the first diagram that popped out, right? This is step 1. It was okay. I was like, yeah, it's not bad. But what can we do from here? Well, the first thing I thought, well, it's not really promoting what I'm trying to promote. Ultimately, so I suggested we rip out the guy in the completion at the finishing line, and we added in a QR code, right? So that was fun and easy, one simple step just to iterate, right? And the second part was, what can we make it more of a roller coastery feel? Because this is okay, but it's kind of flat and boring and predictable, right? So I asked for the roller coaster, the rides of ups and downs of entrepreneurship, which I absolutely feel like if you're an entrepreneur, you get to ride the roller coaster every day. Other people pay for this. So anyway, here's the roller coaster, and I was like, okay, that's pretty cool. I like that. I like where it's going. Can we make it more of a video game feel, right? At this point, it popped in the Pac-Man, give them a little more personality, and we added signs at every exit, right? Which just to give it more of a kind of wacky races kind of a feel, right? And then make it more vibrant. So we brought in some of the fruit, collecting things along the way. And I think I lost the yellow dots here at this point somewhere. So that was kind of missing. So, replace I like the signs to be more like road signs. And basically what we're doing here is talking about the end of regret. It's a regret survey that we're pushing people towards with this infographic. So let's feature regret at every exit. And it did a classic AI thing. It put 2 signs at one exit here. So I had to resolve that. We're down to 1 sign a piece here. And we added, I asked to simplify, right? And this was just getting a bit fuzzy and a bit messy. And here still a bit fuzzy but like trying to reduce some text, which was harder than I thought. And then I went for just saying, let's start again. And that's actually a really cool command that you can put in to Gemini. And it basically drew the same drawing, but created a much cleaner version of it. And this was cool. I was really pretty happy at this point. But then I was like, oh, just a minute. It's really slid off the whole Charlie Hill's hand-drawn feel. I was okay with that, but I just thought, okay, well, let me just see if I can pull it back in line with the original brief. So I asked for a kind of hand-drawn style, right? And this then began to really pop to me. Like it's got a cute feel, but it's got more of a game-like feel. It's more entertaining. So that was the 10 steps. And, it's not... Why does this win over the single? Well, because you get to revisit your idea 10 times along the way to see if AI comes up with a better idea. I would never have thought of this as a first pass, and that's the big win here, right? is use AI as your sparring partner. Expect the unexpected and push for it. So these were the two full-blown drawings. They're both pretty good. I'm not sure which one I love more actually, but this one just has a nice vibe to it. And so this was the big lesson. Starting is the win. Most people think about it too much and didn't start. And I even got stuck in a bit of that trip. Like, where do I go? I'm trying to follow someone else's advice, right? My second big tip here is be critical, ask for more. Don't accept the first pass, right, that you get from AI. AI is basically a little lazy and will give you any old shit. So tell it there's something wrong, iterate. It doesn't complain, doesn't get tired. So push, right? Be fluid and not fixed, and be willing to shift your ideas. I definitely changed my ideas. I was doing this, and find good signals of inspiration. Like listening to Sabrina is very positive. I totally also hear in the school world, Evelyn Weiss. She talks a lot about MISI, which is just phenomenal, and that was really how I started my whole presentation, was with a MISI group of each different exit of here is a different segment of persona. And I didn't mention that, but that's actually there. That's where I started from. And that was, MISI was top of mind because I saw Evelyn speak I saw her in Kelowna at the first school event, and I saw her at an Oracle Card Summit a couple of weeks ago, right? So it was top of mind, MISI. And I plugged MISI into Claude, and it's a phenomenal term to use for Claude, for targeting and persona. So those are my big lessons. I hope this is useful. I've really enjoyed making it and then trying to describe what I was doing. I hope this is useful. I'm sure it is. Like, I think people are just this idea of like, I need the perfect prompt. There is no such thing as a perfect prompt. It's a sparring partner. It doesn't give you dumbass answers. That's your job, to work your way through with a sparring partner in tow. It gives you more energy, more strength, more motivation. You'll get further faster and be energized when you get to the end, right? So that's my big story. I hope you enjoy.